I really didn't want to get married, but
We only got married because Gammy was crying.
I was under so much pressure, being a young actress, being young, and I was pregnant. And I was just like, I didn't know what to do, but I just knew. I was like, I never wanted to be married.
Yeah, we basically, we broke up.
And then what did you do, Jada?
Well, I think from there, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement.
Chris Rock is back on Will Smith's neck again, and this time it's hitting way deeper than just a joke. What looked like an old, played-out Oscars moment just got dragged right back into the spotlight after some leaked footage tied to Jada Pinkett Smith started making rounds. Now everything feels flipped upside down, and Will's name is getting clowned all over again in a big way. The internet isn't letting this slide either. People are locked in, questioning everything they thought they understood about that whole relationship. Jada's energy lately has people raising eyebrows like crazy. She's moving like she's completely checked out, no pause, no second thoughts, just doing her thing. Folks close to them are saying she's been giving attention elsewhere, and somehow it all loops back to Will looking stuck and unsure in his own situation. And yeah, Chris Rock is right there watching it all unfold. You already know he didn't forget what went down? Not even a little bit, and now he's making that crystal clear with how he's reacting. The vibe from Chris feels a little messy, maybe even petty, and it's only putting more pressure on Will in public. But here's the wild part that really has people talking. None of this just came out of nowhere. If you look close enough, the signs were always sitting right there the whole time. From those old interviews to the way they've been living separate lives, all the way to those awkward moments where Will looked like he was barely holding it together while Jada kept speaking her truth out loud. Everything is crashing back at once. Now people are finally connecting dots they ignored before, and that leaked footage is making the whole situation look even messier. The timing couldn't be worse, and it's got everyone asking the same thing. What exactly did Chris say, and why does this feel like such a direct hit to Will's image? It's been 4 years since Will shocked the world at the Oscars, but let's be real, Chris hasn't let that slide at all. You can tell by the way he's now joking about Jada possibly moving on. He's still holding on to that moment. Things really picked up again after Jada sat down for an interview and got hit with a simple question about Will moving back in. The way she answered had people side-eyeing instantly. When asked, "So, are you living together?" she said, "It's just this beautiful connection. We will." That didn't sound like someone ready to reconnect anytime soon, and people caught on to that fast. Now there are reports claiming Jada has no plans to let Will move back in, and she's been spending time with other men, allegedly, which is only adding more noise to an already loud situation. And just when it felt like things couldn't get any more intense, even more rumors started flying around, with claims about private recordings popping up online. People are reacting hard, saying this whole situation has stepped into wild territory now, the internet is going all in on Will, and the jokes just keep coming. And yeah, nobody seems to be enjoying it more than Chris Rock right now. Like I said, he's clearly still holding on to that moment, and it shows every time he brings Will's name back into the spotlight. Meanwhile, Will did try to fix things with a public statement, putting his words out there for everyone to hear. He said, "Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable." He didn't stop there either. He continued saying, "Jokes at my expense are part of the job, but a joke about Jada's condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally." Then he added, "I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong." Even with that apology out there, people are still debating whether it was enough, and the conversation just keeps getting louder. "I'm embarrassed, and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be," he said, making it clear he knew he crossed a line. He even added, "There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness." It sounded genuine, no doubt about it, but clearly it didn't land the way he hoped, because the way Chris is moving now makes it obvious he didn't accept that apology at all. And what makes this even more uncomfortable for Will is how he's always kept things respectful when it comes to Jada and their relationship. Not once has he gone public to speak badly, even while everything around him keeps heating up. Meanwhile, So much of what people know about their marriage didn't come from rumors. It came straight from Jada herself, and it caught people completely off guard. Fans didn't even realize they were living totally separate lives until she casually mentioned it during a book promo interview. It was one of those shocking moments where people had to pause and replay it like, wait, did she really just say that? And then it hit even harder when it came out that back in 2016, they had already decided to live completely separate lives. According to Jada, they made a promise to never officially end the marriage, no matter what happens. And that right there made everything start to click for people watching from the outside. For years, fans had been side-eyeing the situation, feeling like something wasn't adding up, even questioning if she truly wanted to be with Will. But at the same time, it left people confused, because if things were really that complicated, why not just separate for real instead of staying tied together like that? Now, with everything coming out, it's starting to make a lot more sense to people looking at it from this new angle. Some are saying it explains all the tension they've been noticing for years, like those little moments that never quite sat right. There's even talk that she might have been pushing things to a breaking point behind the scenes, though that part is still speculation. And while rumors keep spreading about her spending time with other men, people are really zeroing in on what she's actually admitted herself in the past. She once openly said, "I really didn't want to get married," and even shared that her mother strongly encouraged it at the time. That one statement alone has people rethinking everything, trying to understand how things got so complicated and so public. It's like people are going back through old clips and interviews, trying to connect all the pieces that didn't make sense before. Will, on the other hand, spent years planning this huge, over-the-top celebration because he believed it would lift her spirits during what he saw as a rough phase. He really thought it would bring them closer, but instead of it landing well, Jada shut it down completely and made it clear she wasn't impressed at all. She even said it felt like something he did for himself, like it was feeding his ego instead of being about her. At that point, it was obvious she was already unhappy in the marriage, and that played a big role in how she responded to his effort. Then, there was that moment people started questioning their private life and whether things were meeting expectations, which instantly had everyone talking and trying to figure out what was really going on behind closed doors. She later said, "Stop making up headlines. Watch the Red Table talk I did with Gwyneth Paltrow. For yourselves, Will and I have never had an issue in the bedroom. Thank you." That response didn't slow things down at all, not even close. If anything, it made people talk even more. And as time went on, the situation just kept making Will look worse in the public eye. A lot of people started feeling like Jada was putting him in uncomfortable positions on purpose, whether she meant to or not. And it wasn't just about what she said in interviews either. It was also about how things played out when the cameras were rolling. That's what really made everything feel more intense and impossible to ignore. There were so many moments where you could tell he didn't even want to be on camera. His face gave it all away without him saying a single word. He looked uncomfortable, sometimes even irritated, like he wanted out of the situation completely. But the recording kept going anyway, and that only made it more awkward to watch. And on top of that, there were little comments that didn't help at all. Like when she said, "You know, Paris coming to the table, she's gonna be at the red table." Moments like that had people pausing and replaying, trying to figure out what was really being said and what it meant for everything going on behind the scenes. Moments like that only made everything feel more tense on camera, and people definitely picked up on it. Then, the internet dug up that old letter Willow wrote years ago when she was just 11, and it had everyone shocked all over again. She wrote, "Dear Tupac, I know you are alive in some place. I think that my mommy really misses you. Can you please come back?" She continued, "Can you come back so mommy and me can be happy? I wish you were here. I really do love Willow." That letter sparked a wave of reactions, with people reading deep into every word and forming their own opinions about what might have been going on in the family at the time. Even though she was very young, a lot of people felt like that moment showed some real emotions inside the household. Looking back now, some are saying it adds more context to why the marriage ended up feeling so complicated over time. And to understand why all of this hits so hard for Will, you have to remember he's been open about feeling insecure about Jada's past connection with Tupac. They shared a strong bond before he passed away, and even after all these years, that connection still gets talked about. Will admitted it affected him in a real way, even saying he felt jealous of how close they were. He explained that their bond made him question where he stood in Jada's life, which is a heavy thing to carry. And when that letter from Willow started circulating again, it brought all those old feelings right back to the surface, making everything feel even more intense all over again. It made an already complicated situation feel even heavier. When he was asked, "Were you ever jealous of the love Jada had for Tupac?" he answered, yeah. That short response said everything without needing anything extra, and people definitely caught the weight behind it. Then you add the Oscars moment on top of that, and it just pulled even more attention into an already intense situation when Will stepped in to defend her. On that stage, a lot of people expected some kind of visible support from Jada, but instead, clips started spreading everywhere online, and her reaction had people talking instantly. Some viewers even pointed out that she seemed amused in that moment, and that didn't sit right with a lot of people watching it back. That reaction only made things feel more awkward in public, and it added another layer to how people were already judging their relationship. So when rumors started coming out about them fully separating and living completely different lives, a lot of people weren't even surprised anymore. Some of the stories being shared sound extreme, no doubt about it. But at the core, this situation has clearly been building for a long time, piece by piece. And while it's easy to focus on one side, it's also fair to say Will hasn't always been viewed as a perfect partner either, which keeps the whole story complicated. There have even been rumors suggesting Will wasn't exactly staying on a straight path himself, adding even more questions to everything people thought they understood. People were saying Will had his own situations going on too, but unlike Jada, he kept everything quiet and low-key. Still, once those stories started leaking out, the internet didn't hold back for a second. One of the biggest moments came when his former assistant, Bilal, stepped forward with bold claims about Will's personal life, pulling other names into it and turning the whole situation into a full-blown controversy overnight. Clips and statements started spreading fast, with people repeating lines like, "Hollywood is a hurry-up-and-wait game," while others jumped in with their own takes all over social media. One post even said, "When Jada comes out and her husband admits everything, then I will listen." And that just added more noise to an already chaotic situation that was spiraling fast. At that point, it stopped being about facts and turned into who could say the wildest thing next. The allegations had people talking non-stop, and the story kept growing bigger by the minute. But Jada didn't stay quiet through all of it. She stepped in and made it clear she wasn't supporting any of those claims, even saying she was ready to take legal action against Bilal. There was even a moment when reporters tried to press her for more details, but she didn't stick around for it. She kept it moving and didn't entertain the questions for long, which only made people more curious about what wasn't being said. What really surprised people was that even though they've been living separate lives, she still chose to defend Will publicly. That just shows how layered and complicated their situation really is. At the end of the day, everything around them feels messy, confusing, and still far from fully understood. What makes this whole situation even more intense is that everybody thinks they've already figured it out. Some people are fully convinced they know exactly what went wrong, while others believe there's still a lot being kept hidden behind the scenes. That mix of confidence and curiosity is exactly why the conversation refuses to slow down across every platform, and through all of it, the spotlight hasn't moved one bit. If anything, it's gotten even brighter, making every move feel bigger than it actually is. At this point, it's not just about one moment anymore, it's about the entire timeline stacking up. And people are still watching closely to see how the next chapter plays out, especially now that Chris Rock, who many see as a major rival in this situation, is taking shots again and clearly enjoying every second of it. That just adds even more pressure to an already intense situation, because now it's not about one single incident, it's everything hitting at once. The Oscars moment, the interviews, the separation, the rumors, and now this leaked situation are all piling onto Will at the worst possible time. No matter how you look at it, He stood by Jada in public, defended her, protected their image, and took all the backlash that came with it. And somehow, he's still the one the internet is laughing at right now, which makes it hit even harder. With Chris stepping back in and making jokes again, it feels like everything people thought was over just got dragged right back into the spotlight. And it leaves one big question hanging in the air. Was this always going to happen? Or is there something bigger going on behind the scenes? If you've been keeping up with all of this, drop your thoughts below because this story keeps getting wilder. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share so you don't miss what comes next. And stay locked in because this situation is far from over.